In the name of God, who put an oasis of life and luxury along rivers and surrounding the seas and oceans, so that life surrounds bodies of water. There are 5 seas of the Middle East. The first is the Mediterranean Sea, or the White Sea, in the west. Number 2 is the Black Sea in the north. Number 3 is the Caspian Sea in the east. Number 4 is the Persian Sea in the southeast. And number 5 is the Red Sea in the southwest. The land corridor between the first and the second sea is named Turkey. The first and the second sea, this is the land corridor, Turkey. Between the second and the third sea, this land corridor is Russia. Between the third sea and the fourth sea, this land corridor is Iran. Between the fourth sea and the fifth sea, this land corridor, it's named Arabia. And between that fifth sea and the first sea, this land corridor, this is Egypt, and it extends west across the top of North Africa all the way over to Morocco. The 5 seas each have a pearl city where you will find the shopping center for everything that the people of the land or the people of the sea had to offer. The shopping center is the best place to adorn every family home with the fruits of the labors of mankind. The pearl city of the sea is where every tradesman who worked the land surrounding the sea could come and meet each other, to trade with each other, to buy and sell amongst each other, because the sharing of the fruits of mankind's work and in the city is the oasis of human development. A gold mine or an oil field can never represent the oasis of human development. If you want to see the power of the life of this world, you could look at a map of an electrical grid for the region, and the electrical power would provide a backbone for life, for man's development, and it's a baseline for economic strength. We have satellite images mapping the electrical grid for mankind. We can see that all of the lights powering the cities of the world are easily visible at night when you look down at the world from a satellite orbiting in space. Most all of mankind lives in the northern hemisphere. Most all mankind lives here in the northern hemisphere. As you can clearly see, the population is where they are focalized. There is electric power, and so you can see the lights as a reflection of the population. Mankind has also focused his energies along the edges of the seas and along the ocean coasts. As you can see, the electrical backbone and these lights are representing the population, which are concentrated here at the shores, and where they are concentrated, and where there is a lack of infrastructure, social or economic infrastructure. There are barriers to the economy which mankind develops by. Mountains are a barrier to the economic power of mankind. Rivers connect land's economic powers because they are trade routes and the rivers supply the water of life. The mountains contain the iron needed for the electrical grid, and although the mountains provide a wealth of natural resources and a vantage point over the surrounding land, the mountain cannot provide a very large base for human development because it lacks water. Therefore, the mountains lack fertility. Mountains enrich the valleys surrounding them, but they cannot be an oasis for human development, and only in a corrupted reality would we see that. Allahu Akbar. On the satellite image maps of the electrical grids of the planet, we see the radiant glow of mankind stops at mountain ranges. This is one of the most famous mountain ranges, the Himalayas, and the lights, the electrical infrastructure, it's distinctively stopped here at the mountain range. The radiant glow of mankind stops at the hot equatorial lands. Here is the equator. And there is a clear lack of electrical infrastructure in this equatorial zones. And there is a clear lack of electrical infrastructure at the poles of the planet. At the North Pole, there's a distinctive lack of electrical infrastructure visible. Here in northern Canada and Greenland, and all across Siberia and in the Arctic and the Antarctic, a complete lack of electrical infrastructure. The radiant energy of mankind it emanates along the ocean coasts, the seasides, across the land masses of the northern hemisphere of the planet, where most of the land mass is concentrated, and it causes the tilt of the planet towards the face of the sun. The electric grid, which powers the economy and the growth of trade for mankind, requires vast quantities of infrastructure made of iron and vast quantities of fuel made of rocks and petroleum. The land between the Second Sea and the Third Sea, Russia, has a base of economic power in the trade of iron from the mountains and petroleum from the sea basin. And now diamonds. The land between the Third Sea and the Fourth Sea, Iran, has a base of economic power in the trade of iron from the mountains and petroleum in the sea basin. The land between the Fourth Sea and the Fifth Sea, Arabia, it has a base of economic power in the trade of petroleum. The land between the Fifth Sea and the First Sea, Egypt, Ishbid, has a base of economic power in the trade of petroleum at the far east shore, and dominates on the far west shores, Morocco, in the trade of iron. The lights from the electric infrastructure seen on satellite images of the planet show the strongest economic centers for the works of mankind. The city lights surround the edges of the 5 seas. These are the 5 seas. Of the 5 seas, here is the First Sea, and you can see that there's lights all around, and then there is a lack of electrical infrastructure here towards the west of Ishbid. And you can see here at the Red Sea, there is a concentration of electrical infrastructure here on the eastern shores of the Red Sea, where there is a lack of electrical infrastructure here on the west shore of the Red Sea. And here in the Persian Sea, you can see it's very well developed in its electrical infrastructure. Here at the Caspian Sea, you can see the electrical infrastructure is heavily focused in these more fertile regions here on the western shores, whereas here on the infertile plains and the eastern shores of the Caspian Sea, it's a very strong lack, a very big, wide lack of electrical infrastructure, which signifies the lack of the economic power base there. And here the Black Sea, you can see the Black Sea is one of the most vibrant. There, it's completely surrounded in a very dense electrical infrastructure, just kind of symbolizing that the development of that economy there. So the city lights surround the edges of the 5 seas and enlighten the shores with energy and products of labor. The darkness of the mountains shows that the economic power cannot be focalized there because it would not provide a good economic environment for life to thrive. The economic power from the mountains migrates down the mountainsides to the seashores and valleys. The value of the mountains is the iron inside the mountains, which must be taken and molded by tradesmen for the iron infrastructure of the electrical grid. The supply of electricity for the city is powerful in increasing the size of the city and therefore the magnitude of the economic labor force. We ask God, please return the right of economic life to the people living in the country named Gaza. Please open the borders for the trade of iron to increase the size of the electrical grid in Gaza. God, allow the access to petroleum for the electrical power in Gaza, which is life-saving. God, restore and develop the economic base of Gaza for the people to thrive there on this land named Gaza. Allahu Akbar. Your loving daughter, Catherine Alwan. This is written January 11th of 2024.